All right, everybody. Oh, the counter reset. So we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks for tuning in today. We've got a continuation of our series here for all the things to do in Kuna, Idaho area with our co-host Chase Hodgson, who actually lives in Kuna. We're going to be talking about things to do for recreation, sports, entertainment, restaurants. We're going to cover a lot of ground here in a very short period of time. So with that, we will bring Chase on. How you doing today, Chase?
I'm doing great. I'm
We're uh,
doing
we're,
great.
we're going to be in your backyard today.
I'm in a weird place, right? Because I'm technically have a Meridian address. I'm the furthest Meridian address, but Cuna's my town. That's where we're in that school district. That's where we grew up. That's where we live. Yeah, so I love it. Love it. Been there for a long time. My family's been there, yeah, as long as I can remember.
Well, lots of changes. Things have come online over the years and changed the dynamics and the feel of Kuna. Some for the good, and unfortunately a few things for the bad. But we'll cover a lot of a lot of ground. But let me cover a couple of housekeeping items here. For those of you that I haven't met, my name is Jerod Lee. I'm the associate broker and team lead at My Home Connection, also known as MHC Realty. Our sponsor for today is the perfect home buying process. We've spent the better part of a couple decades developing this out, fine tuning for you as a home buyer to make things easier, more efficient, and actually some promotions to help reduce some costs in that process. We've partnered with Chase and Summit to contribute up to $500 on your home appraisal and your home inspection at closing, as well as just a number of different tools we're going to provide for you. Relocation, lifestyle guides, podcast series, a number of reports, kind of everything that you would need to really make a good decision during the home buying process. So if you want to take advantage of any of these, including that promotion, feel free to reach out. We'll have all our contact information readily available. And of course, you can comment below. But with that, we'll bring Chase back online here. And why don't you give us just a brief kind of background on what you've seen in the dynamic shift of Kuna and where you think it's kind of going based, or is that a tough question? I didn't give you any opportunity to prep
No,
for that one.
no, it's not a tough question. Growing up, I mean, it was a tiny, tiny little farm community when I was growing up as a young man. No stop signs, hardly any stop signs, no stop lights at all. Very small farming community, and the changes have been vast, right? The amount of growth that we've seen over the past decade out in Kuna is incredible. It's eating up the farm ground. They're building on it. Obviously, we need that space. We need that growth in the valley, and it's made it's profitable for the farmers to be able to sell out. So the change, it's interesting, because there's been a ton of growth and it's brought some industry, some business to town, which is nice,
Mm-hmm.
restaurants and businesses and things like that. But overall, Kuna is still a bedroom community, which has always been. If you weren't a farmer, you lived in Kuna, you were going to Meridian or Boise or Napa or Caldwell to work.
Yeah.
And that's still the same thing that's going on today.
Yeah. Yeah. Some businesses, some services coming online, food, more grocery stores, things like that. But definitely, kind of for the major stuff, you're coming into Boise, you're coming into Meridian.
Yeah, absolutely. The jobs, there's still not a ton of jobs out there, so it's still, what they consider a bedroom community, and people, move out there to live a little bit more slow pace and quieter life, and then they leave every day to go to work.
Yeah. Well, it's uh, the topic that I think is important across the valley here is recreation, because the whole Treasure Valley is actually all of Idaho is really recreational minded.
Yeah.
And then each area within the Treasure Valley has its own kind of subset of what that recreation looks like. But we're very outdoorsy. You want to share with us, just because that is such a common aspect or attribute of the Treasure Valley, specifically in Kuna, what do you see a lot of the recreation items being?
Oh boy, Cuna's interesting, right? So because of the growth, we're seeing some new things. They've got, in town itself, they've got a little short green belt along Indian Creek, that runs through the middle of town. They have disc golf. a little disc golf course that they put in and along there, along the parks, along Indian Creek. But if you get outside of it, right? So Kuna sits, in the southern part of the valley, up against what would be considered, desert. And if you get just outside of Kuna, there's a lot of, people love to go target shooting. There are clay and trap shooting places out there on the edge of, in between Boise and Kuna. Fishing down at Swan Falls, because it's a short drive actually to the Snake River from Kuna, to a couple different places, whether you're going to Swan Falls or to Celebration Park. So you have access to that, and the fishing on the Snake is pretty unique in that you can catch sturgeon, smallmouth bass, trout. There's a number of different species that you can fish down on the Snake River.
That's beautiful.
And so, yeah, it's incredible, and there's areas in between. When you get out south of Kuna, there's areas where you can, there's hieroglyphs and things on the rocks that you can see, and good hiking, and there's just it's a ton, right? So we're seeing the growth with things to do in town itself, and then all the old things that I did growing up are still there.
What about Dedication Point? I hate to throw you yet another kind of curveball here, but I have not been out here.
So it's directly south of town, and it's just like I said, it's a desert, right? And so you have a couple of things that poke right up out of the desert floor,
Yeah.
and Dedication Point's one of them. You've got Dedication Point, you've got Initial Point, and they're just small little mountains that you can hike or mountain bike or even four-wheel up and down.
Oh, interesting. Is Kuna Caves it's out in that?
Kuna Caves is interesting, right? So it's 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 something you have to do when you go to Kuna, but it's literally just a hole in the ground with a ladder.
Yeah, we'll set realistic expectation, but if this is your thing, this is your thing.
Yeah, you've got to go see it for sure.
What do they call it? Splunking? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, there's not anymore. I don't think there's a ton of the cave that you can get into. When I was growing up, there was quite a bit more. But you want to be careful the time of the year, because it is desert and there's rattlesnakes, and unfortunately, as you can see through the pictures, the graffiti has gotten a little ridiculous. None of that was there when I was growing up. So
yeah. It's one of those things you'll hear people talk about when you go out to Kuna. They'll be like, "Oh, go check out Kuna Caves," but now you know roughly what to expect out there.
Yeah. I've taken my children there, right? It's still something that we do. I think one of the neat sites still that's close to Kuna is Swan Falls, and they have a dam there that generates power. There's fishing above and below the river. There's camping down there. It's really a gateway to a lot of outdoor activity out there.
Now the Greenbelt runs. This is the Greenbelt.
In town, yep. Runs right along Indian Creek, which is actually Indian Creek is one of the most popular places. You can actually fish in that as well. I don't really see anybody fishing in it in town anymore, but on either side, I still see them. But floating that river in the summer is a highly popular activity, with tons of people, just tubes and raft. It's a pretty slow, lazy float, and really, really popular thing to do out there.
I think it's a little too fast for paddle boards, as I recall, right?
I haven't seen paddle boards on it. You're probably right. There's a couple of places where you definitely would have to get out and walk around.
Yeah, but tubes and rafts, you'd be fine.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And then we'll bring up speaking of Indian Creek. There's Indian Creek Ranch community. When we talk about kind of the community amenities, that'll be one of the bigger communities we'll chat about. In the Kuna area, but this whole main road here, 69, this is where you're going to get a lot of your services these days. You've got your
right there on the corner of Linder, and you've got D&B and Tractor Supply, and Ridley's a new grocery store. There's restaurants and businesses coming in along that stretch, every day.
You guys got a Jersey Mike's, woo!
Yeah, I know, big time now.
You're on the map. Well, you got an Arby's, so between the two, you're golden.
Yeah, Taco Bell and McDonald's, and it's like the real deal out there, man.
When some of these big names find you,
Yeah, we had one place to eat when I was growing up. So
At home? No, I'm just kidding.
so the other thing that you can't go to Cuna without visiting is Enrique's, right?
I,
So there's a very very popular Mexican restaurant in downtown, and it's huge and it's beautiful, and he is, he's been in Cuna for decades and just does a great job. It's a great experience.
yeah, it is an experience. It's more than you would think. I mean, there's, whatever you call it, bago, cornhole, out front, and so if you're on the wait list, you got some activities to do. Their atmosphere here is just, I like it. I think it's super impeccable, and it's, my style. It isn't what I thought would been in Cuna, but
Right?
uh, but it's really good food. So this is a
Well,
must for sure.
he started as just a small place in the corner on Main Street, Cuna, and it just it was so good. It just kept growing and growing and growing until he got to the place he has now. And it sits right on the edge of right on the edge of Indian Creek with park in between the restaurant and Indian Creek, so you can wander there. And our giant American flag flies right above it, right at the end of the street there.
Yeah, this is the old one.
That is the old one, yeah, right downtown.
The original. See if I got a photo of the new. Oh, that's the new exterior, but that's not super helpful.
No,
Um, anyway, the exterior looks much different. It's definitely much
yeah,
bigger. Well, there's the front door, but anyway, you get the idea. But yeah, it's a great story to tell, right? A family-owned business, started in what you saw there, the original one, and they've just got a great, beautiful building now with a ton of good
yeah,
rapport in the community. Good food.
yep. Yep, and we have Reed's Dairy out there now as well, which is just phenomenal for ice cream and um,
Reeds?
you know yeah, Reed's Dairy, which is a local Idaho as well. They started in eastern Idaho and now they're over here. That's I think Kuna was their third location here in the valley,
Let's see. Reed's
which is
Dairy. I don't know.
over on that main road right there.
Okay.
I will,
So
I will say, if you have not been to Reed's Dairy, you have to go in and buy some of their chocolate milk. There's nothing like it on the planet.
really,
Yeah, they
so
make it. They make it with heavy cream and potato flakes.
nice.
It's
So this is
incredible.
their retail location for their farm. Is that what I'm hearing?
They have retail where they sell ice cream and cheeses and different milk and different items.
Is that cheese
But
curds?
yeah, yep. But
Awesome.
they have three locations around the valley at this point. North Meridian, West Boise, and Kuna. But they're based out of I think the original was Idaho Falls.
Okay, and it's Idaho family owned.
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. I love those stories.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, nog. They even got some nog going on.
They do. They've
Do
got.
they match? I'll probably get pummeled for saying Stone Cold, but it's better than Stone Cold.
Oh my gosh. Cold Stone. You mean? Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Just the
Definitely.
fact that they're national makes me bad. Anyway, no, that's awesome.
And there's a few other businesses out there. It really still feels like a small community, and I think that CUNA does a good job of doing that with the events. They have their annual gathering called CUNA Days at the end of the summer. Before everybody goes back to school with parades and they fill the park up with vendors and there's events that go on and they have one of the best fireworks shows in the valley. On either Friday or Saturday night during CUNA days. Brings a ton of people to town. And it still feels like a small town fair with a lot of different things going on.
Are they referring to it as Dairy Days by chance? Because
That's Meridian. Dairy Days is Meridian. CUNA Days is
ah
CUNA.
okay. I wonder because I thought that the photos of the actual uh, parades and whatnot would come up, and maybe I need to get out of Google Maps here. Let me try to let's do this. It's worth seeing for sure. Attending.
Oh, the fireworks show is definitely worth seeing. But yeah, you can see, um, just fills up the town. Like food vendors and different types of vendors and activities that go on throughout the day.
Yeah, what a blast.
Again, yeah, it is fantastic.
What time of the year? Refresh my memory.
Pardon?
What time of the year? Refresh my memory. They have.
End of the summer, right before the kids go back to school.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. What a blast.
And
Um,
they've brought back rodeo in Kuna. We've had 2, 3 years of that now, and so that's fun because it was a really long time without rodeo. So now we've got that's come back,
let's
and I
see.
can't remember what they call it. Yeah, it's held at the Crooked Eight.
Oh, Crooked 8 Rodeo, maybe?
Yeah, it might be.
Let's see. Looks like it.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, they did away
So
with it for a little bit, though, huh?
yeah, nice little small town rodeo. Yeah, it's got that small town feel. It's not like a Snake River Stampede or a Caldwell Night, you know.
Yeah.
But it's growing, and it's awesome to have it back for sure.
Yeah. Oh, little nightlife action with the
Mm-hmm.
band, and somehow they fit a truck in the middle of the. Love it. Love it.
Yep.
Yeah, they're taking a family picture and the cow walks up. That you don't see
Uh-huh.
that every day.
No.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do throughout the year there. Um, they're expanding the green belt, but there's people in Kuna live outside too, right? Like they're farming communities, and even the growth is we've seen a lot of that. The towns getting busy, for sure.
Yeah, Cuna's one of the areas that doesn't or hasn't, I should say, blended with the surrounding area. Like if you go to Boise, you don't see where Boise stops and Meridian starts. You go to from Meridian to Eagle, you can't. I mean, unless you can't tell where Meridian stops and Eagle starts. But there is ag, separating Kuna in most parts from South Meridian. But it's not going to be long before that's all
It's
built in.
it's not. Yeah, if you zoom in on the on Meridian Highway 69 there is a lot of that ground has been is being built on currently. CUNA is actually expanding to the west or to the east, excuse me,
Uh huh.
adding another elementary school and subdivisions. So yeah, that little right there on the corner of yeah. So if you go to the right with your cursor there,
Uh huh.
in between, right, and go north,
Yeah.
right. So just to the left of where that cursor is, there's going to be another elementary school.
Okay, that'll
So right,
service Indian Creek that we were talking about.
I probably yeah. The board they haven't changed the boundaries yet, so I don't know for sure, but it'll be that east side of Kuna. I'm sure.
See if they got any
So
photos.
and this is one of the nice, obviously one of the nice subdivisions, but there's expansion out by Falcon Crest as well. Um, Cuna's a short drive to one of the nicest golf courses in the state in Falcon Crest. Uh, yeah, that community is right on Indian Creek. In fact, that community sits when I talk about floating Indian Creek. That community sits right where everybody starts. Like that's where they put in, and so you've got there's some waterfront homes there. Definitely one of the nicer communities that's been built out in Cuna.
Yeah, so this is easy because Meridian Road 69, you can just come from Meridian, head down, and then you're either going to go, kind of into Kuna or, go east here to Indian Creek Ranch, which we just talked about that school. But here's the development. It's further along than what we're seeing here, but it's a really well done community. They've got pickleball courses, or excuse me, courts and basketball courts and swimming pools. So this is for things to do, if you're an Indian Creek Ranch, homeowner, which a lot of people are, because that's a massive development.
Yeah, it's a nice development. Nice development.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nice to see some diversity in the types and styles of developments in Cuna starting to come around.
Yeah. And we're seeing more of those communities have those amenities. You know, in different areas of the valley, we have uh, developers that are really focused on the development of the project having a lot of these amenities, clubhouses and pools and courts and whatnot. I would say, just by the virtue of the size of Cuna, we haven't seen, there are some that have those, but I would say Indian Creek Ranch is by far one of the ones that has the most and the nicest and newest. But we're seeing more and more big developers. You saw M3 is a developer for Indian Creek Ranch. So you're seeing more and more amenity type, feature rich communities going into Kuna.
Yep.
Here's some, just the Kuna popped up, some of the Kuna Days photos. I knew there
Yep.
were some online here.
Right there. Yeah, the street's pretty packed during the parade.
Do they do a lot of water? Like Eagle Days, they have the fire trucks, and it's a big deal that, okay,
They come in the last, and they come spray the kids, and yeah, for sure.
it's a blast. Yeah, you'll get drenched unless you really get off the street. Oops.
And it's like I was saying earlier too. It's Falcon Crest is really part of the community, the Kuna community. Like it is like 3 miles outside of downtown. And that's by far one of the nicest golf courses in the valley. So you've got access to that, and there's a ton of development going up. A 55 community, 55 and up community going in and around one of the golf courses that they've added out there. And there's some huge developments that are actually going in out there that will be part of Kuna.
Yeah, I mean this is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I do golf. I mean, you can roughly call it that, but it seems to me like certainly in this area and other areas of town, the amount of people on the course is very little, relatively speaking, to where people are relocating from. They're just shocked that they can, one, the cost, and two, the availability.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So enjoy it while you can.
Yeah, for sure.
Won't last forever, I'm sure.
Yeah, and another cool thing is I don't know if a lot of people know, but we actually grow a lot of grapes. There's a lot of wineries in the valley, right? And there's a small little one just west of Kuna, and that kind of opens up right from there clear over to the river in Marsing. There's a lot of wineries in that, and just some beautiful farm ground. And I know they grow a lot of hops out there too.
Yeah, a lot of folks don't know that, and I think it's an evolutionary thing in our Treasure Valley that we've got these now new microclimates for hops, for vineyards that we didn't originally have. Just kind of that temperature in those little pockets with the microclimates are now conducive to vineyards, to growing hops. So we're getting a lot of presence all across the valley, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii Vista Vineyard.
Yeah, there's one. That's just a tiny one there.
Uh-huh.
There's one east of Kuna, I think it's called Indian Creek. If I'm
There we go, Indian Creek Winery.
Indian Creek Winery, and then it just opens up from there, right? As you head toward Marsing, there's more and more. Kuna is really the gateway to the southern part of the state, and all that it has. You go out through Kuna to get to Melba, to get to the Snake River, Celebration Park, Murphy, the Owyhee Mountain Range, where people recreate all the time as well. So Kuna really is kind of the gateway to that.
We should talk about the birds of prey.
Absolutely, yeah. The minute you get south of Kuna, you're on the western part of the birds of prey, and our birds of prey area is the largest in the country. The actual facility is in South Boise, but all of that desert south of Kuna is part of that the breeding grounds for the peregrine falcons and many other birds of prey.
Yeah, this is a must see here.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, don't get to go see these every day.
No.
Wow.
No,
Beautiful.
you don't.
Beautiful.
And even with all the growth, there still is some quite a bit of open ground of farming in Kuna currently. So
yeah,
I still love living there. Wouldn't move.
Yeah, I don't think they'll pry you out of there. Oh, I think you'll be horizontal, won't you?
Might be. Might be.
Yeah. Well, it's a great place. Well, let's see. We're at 25 minutes. We're trying to hold to a half an hour here. As best we can, which quite often we we don't. But is there any other places that the folks absolutely need to check out?
No, I think that's about it. I mean, there's all these little micro places, and like I said, CUNA leads you to a lot of other places to go see and recreate. But I would say in tying it back to what we do, through real estate, is understanding the type of community it is, right? I touched on it in the beginning, being a bedroom community. Um, the, you know, we've got a lot of small business opportunity out there, and there's a lot of growth to happen. But if you're looking for a quieter place to live with, that's maybe a little bit slower place, Cuna's your spot for
Yeah,
sure.
totally agree. One of the things that we referenced in the perfect home buying process is the relocation lifestyle guide, and there's a breakdown. Basically, Chase summarized a lot of that in what he just said, but there's a little bit more detail in that. So if you'd like a digital copy of that, by all means, let us know, and we'll certainly get that to you. So.
Absolutely.
So let's make sure folks know how to get a hold of you, Chase. Summitfunding.net.
It's on my page there. Summitfunding.net / C Hodgson. I'm in the
Awesome.
process of changing that to make it simpler, but we'll address that in the future.
Yeah, well, it'll be easy to just comment down below or our numbers. I mean, our let me see if I can pull up our site, myhomeconnection.com. You've got the email address and the phone number up here in the top right. And then we cover a lot of the different areas. So if you want to look up different areas, we've got those all broken down. More, reports, of the areas, communities within the areas. CUNA obviously is on that list. And then we've got a Why Idaho series with all the different things, to focus on, from, biking, hiking, fishing. So we have embedded videos in a lot of those as well. But anyway, just a ton of content for you to digest. So, but yeah, that's a lot to cover, and we're just about at the half an hour mark. So I think we did good today.
Might be our shortest one ever.
That's right. That's right. Well, anything else you want to let the folks know about the market real quick, or anything other than it is moving fast?
Yeah, just get out and shop. Inventory is low. Things are heating up as the weather warms up. So get out and see some of these areas of town and see where your next home might be.
Yeah, make sure you get in touch with Chase sooner than later so we can figure out your budget and loan program and all that before you window shop too much. Like I'll go window shop a car and go, oh yeah, I can't afford anything near that. So anyway, all right. Well, with that said, we'll sign off. Thanks so much again, Chase, for co-hosting today and all your valuable insight in your backyard.
Love it. Always enjoy it, Jerod.
Very good. All right, everybody. Well, other than that, we'll wish you a blessed one. Take care.